I decided to go live to talk about this very important issue and maybe issues that are happening right now. Those of you that are planning to move to the United States very soon, some of you that are in the UK and some other countries, past your NCLEX already and trying to make the best decisions, in terms of whether you should choose recruitment agencies or direct hire and all of those good stuff. So if you come in, please say hello and hi, if you're joining. So guys, so many things, and recently I started seeing some posts on Facebook, people that had terrible experiences with their different agencies in the United States. Some of them are pained, some of them are discouraging people from using agencies, you know like, so one of the posts that I have been following, the person is saying you should run away, run from agencies. And there are so many indications, there are things that could be making that person to say some of the things that they are saying. Because sometimes when you are experiencing certain things in a new country, I mean, it's usually exaggerated because it's new to you and you don't understand why, someone should be doing that. So I'm going to share my own perspective on whether you should use a recruitment agency, especially now in 2024, or you should use direct hire, or you should, go a different route altogether. Like, because I know some people also find attorneys and use them as well during their process. So I'm going to share a bit of my experience so far. I used agency when I was moving to the UK, and I used agency when I moved to the United States. So I'm going to share a bit of my experience and what you should be looking out for. So for some reason, sometimes it's not really about that agency that you are picking to use. Sometimes it depends on so many other things that come with immigration as well, and for you as a person. So I'm going to be sharing all of this in this video. And if you are in this process, or you're even dreaming of becoming a nurse, whether in the UK or in any other country, and you're not getting that job directly, you're going to be using like a middleman in the process, then this video is definitely for you. So guys, if you're watching the recording of this video or anything, just please give it a thumbs up and share in your nursing communities, because I'm going to be sharing a lot of things. Okay, so first of all, there are so many agencies out there. Some are new, some they have been there for a very long time. So first of all, I'm going to be sharing like things that you should look out for, and I'll be sharing my experience in between. Okay, so number one thing that you should know when you are using any agency at all, when you are using any agency at all. 1 second, let me make sure people can see us. Okay, so number one thing, oh God. Yeah, so guys, number one thing that you should always keep in mind when you are choosing any agency, this is something that this is one of the mistakes that I made. Okay, this is one of the mistakes that I made when I was using any agency. In fact, when I was leaving my country to move to any country, one of the things you should always keep in mind is that any agency, any human being, whatever, as far as the person is a middleman, that is not directly to that hospital, anybody at all that is helping you throughout the process is a business person. Okay, there are businesses out there that are helping nurses to move to the United States. So that is number one mistake that I made when I was leaving Nigeria. Like, you will see all these adverts, like all these agencies saying, oh, we are recruiting nurses to move to the UK, and these are the benefits. We are going to pay for your OSCE, we will pay for your flight, we will pay for this, we will pay for this, and you don't have to, and you're not going to pay back. One mistake that I made, many people are making, and when you eventually know that this is actually you, you'll be like, how on earth did I make this mistake? Is that those agencies, they are business people. So that is something that you have to keep at the back of your mind all the time. Those people that are recruiting you, the reason why they are in that business at all is because they are going to make one form of profit or the other. Thank you guys for joining. Please, once you join the live, please can you give it a thumbs up and share in nursing communities. I'm going to be sharing my experience. A lot of people are in pain and if you've been following Facebook recently, a lot of people are coming out to say their mind about their recruitment, their experience and all of that. But I just want to share like a balanced perspective because I know that will benefit from it. Okay, so number one thing you have to keep in mind if you're a nurse and you want to move to the UK, you want to move to the United States or any country at all, as far as you're not going directly to that hospital, even if you're going directly to the hospital, just know that the hospital that is recruiting you, they are in need of nurses, and that's why they are even asking nurses to come from different parts of the world, number one. So it will benefit them and it will benefit you. And if it is a recruitment company, you know that those people are also business people. And the reason why this is important is because, first, let me share my experience one, especially moving to the UK. So I moved to the UK with an agency, and that agency promised everything. First of all, I got two offers. The one of first offer I got is in Surrey or something in the UK, and the second one I got was in London. And that London one was the second one. I was contemplating, oh, should I leave the first offer? London is expensive. And I also made that known to the agency or the person that was recruiting me, right? So he said, oh, we are going to London. You are going to earn extra, something that they will add for you if you're working in central London. We are going to add something for you. And then I kept saying, oh, I already have an offer, even though the idea of going to London actually aligned to my, my plans because I wanted to write NCLEX and all of that. So she kept saying, oh, we are going to pay you more. And then she even eventually, they had to review my offer and gave me a step higher. That means like all the new nurses, usually they start at a particular salary, right? But she gave me a step higher. That is something that they pay someone that has stayed up to 2 years or 3 years. Okay, so that made me say, okay, even though I'm going to London, I'm going to benefit other things in while I'm in London, and then I'll be able to write my NCLEX and achieve other goals, right? Thank you guys for joining. Please, if you join, please give it a thumbs up. I will appreciate it so that more people will see this live. Okay, so to my greatest surprise, I decided to, okay, leave the Surrey offer, and then I chose the one for London, right? Because they gave me a better offer, right? And the London, I'm also going to be receiving additional amounts of money because I'll be working in central London, okay? So I chose that offer just for me to get to London. First of all, they gave me a horrible, horrible, experience when I arrived in the airport. So at the airport, I'm supposed to be picked up by a taxi driver. So when I got there, the person that was in charge of the recruitment and everything just called me and said, okay, we also have someone arriving from Canada and it will just be in it won't take long. Were you able to stay? I say, okay, fine. I have spent how many hours? Like I had to, it wasn't a direct flight. So I moved from Nigeria to Dubai and then to London. So you can imagine somebody traveling for the first time, the experience and everything. So when I got there, they said I should wait for someone else. So eventually that person's own flight, maybe it was delayed or something, but it took the person long. Imagine me, my phone was flat, nothing, I couldn't connect to the internet or something. Like, it was just such a horrible experience. I had to wait for someone else from another country. Hunger, new environment, it was very cold, everything. I stayed there. I stayed there waiting, and the woman kept calling me and telling me to go to a something coffee shop. I should go to a coffee shop. I couldn't even see the coffee shop name that I've never heard in my life. I should go to that coffee shop that the driver is here, and kept calling me and calling me. I should go to one coffee shop. First of all, I was finding it. I was trying to find my way around the airport. Man, it was really, really horrible. And the fact that I am new, I was thinking, if this is how these people behave, even Nigerians, with how they are tough, the way they respect foreigners, they won't treat anybody like that, you know? So at the end of the day, the person from Canada arrived, and then we now look for the driver, and eventually we got that driver. Did you know that this agency, or whatever they call themselves, when we got to the place that we are supposed to work, In fact, the last call before we boarded that taxi was the last time I heard from that agency. So once the driver took us, the agency, whatever, started talking to the driver and to the hospital. So once the driver handed us over to the hospital, that agency stopped communicating. In fact, they did not even ask, oh, did you arrive to the UK well? All those communication at the time when I was preparing to go to the UK, they stopped it. Like, guys, thank you so much for joining. I'm not seeing any comments. If you're leaving any comments, let me see. Okay, so I can respond to your comments. So I mean, that was really, really horrifying. I know that Nigerians won't even behave like that. You know, they won't. Sorry, I'm trying to join on my laptop as well so I can see your comments. Please, please like this video if you are still joining, and if you have questions or things to say, please leave a comment. Okay, let me just like recognize everyone. Okay, so that was really, really a terrible experience for me. I felt like they didn't take me as like a human being or something like that. They didn't even feel, they didn't even, recognize the fact that I'm coming from a different country, I should be hungry and all of that. They did not ask any of that. And then because the hospital, they felt like whatever agency that I use, they'll be looking after or caring for us in some way. Immediately we got to the hospital, they did orientation that same day. And I'm like, what kind of people don't even think that after traveling, so they still want to start telling us about the hospital that same day? They wanted us, imagine, we stayed in that hospital till 5 o'clock. They made sure that if we are paying you that day, that means you must work. That's what it felt like, right? So they made sure we stayed with them until 5 p.m. or whenever they are closing, and then they took us to where we will be like the place that they will be boarding, basically. So that was not a very good experience in the beginning. I kept thinking in my mind, so are you not, don't you have in mind that like these people need rest, or don't you know that they need to call their family members all those time? Because once you travel now, like you need to even call your family members, tell them that you're there. So I felt like these people, they said they have experience recruiting from abroad and all of that, offered me all of those things, and still they could not really understand, like, customer care. At least customer care to a reasonable extent. Thank you guys for joining. Please like this video and share. Okay, so yeah, that was my first experience. And why I'm highlighting this story is to let you know that these people, they are business people. So once I got to the UK, they know that no matter what, and they handed me over to the hospital, they know they will be paid. So in the UK, they paid per recruitment, right? So it's just like direct hire for the United States. So they will get paid anyway, and it's not like I'm working with them directly. So they felt like the customer care or whatever. But finally, did I refer anybody to them? No, because even the next time when I didn't know what else to do, I needed to ask questions, because the hospital, they are not the ones recruiting and everything. So there are things about international recruitment they might not know. When I eventually asked them for something, they didn't even know the answer. So they just knew how to recruit people. And for me to highlight something again about the contracts, the offer they gave me at the end of the day, do you know I said that they upped my offer? So they offered me a higher step in nursing. Instead of paying me entry level, they decided to pay me more for me to go to the UK, right? So when I got there, when I started receiving my salary, they were not even paying me anything close to what that agency offered me. And the offer came with the hospital logo and everything. I'm supposed to believe that offer because it looked very authentic, right? It wasn't close to it. So when I asked the HR, they said, oh, I should go back to, thank you so much for joining. So I should go back to whatever agency that I used. That was surprising because I never ever knew that. In fact, I never ever knew in my life that I would travel abroad and find people that are not straightforward. I used to think, the way they make it social media, I used to think that maybe you only find some of these things in Oh, thank you so much for joining. So I sometimes you think it's only in Africa you find some of these things, but I was really, really surprised. I should get back to my agents. And of course, because you're new in a new country, you don't want to have any problem with wherever you're working. So I continued working like that. And the time they started paying me whatever that was in that offer, like equivalent, right? Was like after 3 years of working in the UK. And I was like, really? So I did not even fight it. I did not even ask. I just wrote them and attached the offer and said this was the offer. And instead of them responding, they said I should contact my agents. This is the agency that stopped talking almost immediately I moved, right? So that is something that I want to highlight here in this video. Those people are business people, number one. So make sure that whichever agency that you select, whether it is for the UK or for the US, as far as you're not going straight to the hospital, where you know that if it is a direct hire or you are working in that particular hospital, you have every chance to now walk into an office and really ask your questions and everything because you're part of them. So once it's an agency that you are only hearing, by proxy, like by email and all of that, you may not really, really know how to confront those issues, especially because it's a new country with new rules and all of that. So number one is to know that they are business people. And again, what I need to highlight here that you need to understand that they are business people is that initially when they are advertising and you are applying and all of that, make sure that you use that time to ask all the questions. Don't shy away from asking questions. Oh, congratulations if you filed. Okay. I'll be taking questions in a little bit. And no, don't just worry because I will just share. I'm trying to share a balanced perspective here. Okay, so in the very beginning, when you are choosing all these agencies and everything, make sure that you're not timid because that's one thing with us. Then we just want any agency to please accept me. I am a registered nurse and I need to. I've passed my NCLEX or something, especially if that agency is offering you sponsorship in terms of your NCLEX, your travels and everything. Sometimes when they now give you the job offer, you don't even know how to ask questions. You don't even need to you know, ask them so that they will not take it away from you, which is very, very understandable. I've been there. I've been there. Okay. But if you're still here and you're watching this video and you're beginning to see all these other nurses coming out to share their experiences, that's to give you that confidence that these are legal issues, contracts are legal issues, and it's taken seriously in these countries, right? So before you sign any contracts with anybody or you go for their recruitment, if they came live in your country, make sure that you're asking them all the questions, okay? Are you worried about the kind of contract? Some people will make you sign a contract and tell you that once you sign, you can't go to any other agency. Usually they include it in their contract. And sometimes they don't give you time to think about it. Like they will send you the contract today and they'll tell you have to return it in 2 days or it will be withdrawn. So that's after they've made you write all those exams and all of that. So some people find themselves like in a tight corner. They're not able to go to another agency or something like that, right? So one thing is I just read those contracts, be patient enough. That's why sometimes these days it's better to sponsor yourself to NCLEX so that when you are already a USRN, that I mean you are in a more relaxed position, even though I'll still talk about people that are looking for people that will sponsor their NCLEX, traveling and all of that. So just stay with me, okay? So before you sign that contract, still keep in mind this first thing that I'm talking about, that they are business people. So they will do things that will benefit them. Even though in the beginning, the adverts look as if, okay, they're helping they're helping you to do this, they're helping you to do that. But why they're helping you is that maybe at the end of the day, all the help that they are rendering to you, maybe $10,000, but they are going to make, if you know how much they make on top of one nurse, you'll be surprised, right? Okay, so one thing you have to keep in mind is that you are also helping them by being their client. And there's a video where I shared more than 10 top agencies that have recruited people in the past, right? So you have to know that there are so many, 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 many more options, right? So you want to choose the one that works for you. And remember, not because sometimes this agency works for so many people, it might not really, really work for you based on the kind of contract they give you, okay? So when you are signing that contract, know that these people are business people. Even though they are helping me to move to the United States by recruiting me, I'm also their client. They will be making money from me, and that will give you a little confidence to like ask questions. Okay, so many of the questions that you can ask. Let me just share with you some of the questions that you can ask in the beginning. There's no reason why you shouldn't ask. Okay, don't be emotional about it. Like how long the contract is going to be. Ask them like how many hours, how many, like some people, if you're in the UK, sometimes they'll offer you 5,200, some will offer you 6,000 if you are coming from Kenya, from Nigeria, from all of that. Some will offer more than 6,000, whatever, you know. So sometimes if you're in the UK, you didn't know that sometimes if you're in the UK and you may get lower hours, right? Some agencies will now offer you like 6,000, 7,000 hours. You should know that sometimes if you're already in Europe, people in the Europe, they get lower hours. Okay, so it's not bad for them to offer you whatever they offer you, but it's up to you to now ask them, can it be 5,200? Can it be lower? Can it be 4,000? They might say no, but this is negotiation. You're not just throwing yourself out there. And just remember, you are a nurse already, right? What I can tell you confidently is that that nursing that you did in your country, you should be proud of it. The skills that you learn, all these things, they are very, very valuable abroad. So don't think that, oh, they are better than me, because sometimes we just feel like these people, they are better than us. And that affects so many things, your confidence, everything. But at the end of the day, you learn that you just need a little bit of the experience, and you even be far ahead, because so many of us that come here, we have 10 years experience, 8 years experience, and you'll be working with people that just started, 2 years, 3 years, they will be your charge nurses, but you have been there, you've worked in so many fields, so you should be proud of where you're coming from, the kind of education you have, the certificate you have. So if you get it right in the beginning, it will save you a lot of stress. Again, is that you can also ask them like, okay, how about if something happens and you don't finish the contract, what will happen? Okay, they are going to, this one, they are not very upfront about it. They will tell you that if you leave the contract, even immediately you sign, they will tell you that if you don't fulfill the terms of the contract, you'll be liable to so, 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 and so, and they will not tell you the amount. Okay, so even if you have not traveled to the US and you breach a contract, they will still tell you, we are going to send you how much you have spent on you, and then that scares a lot of people. But this is just to tell you, to give you the confidence that you still have rights to know some of this information, how much is going to cost you, how much, how long the contract is going to take, and you can negotiate and tell them, oh, I've already passed my NCLEX, or I have already passed this exam, or I'm already in the UK. Can you make the contract this? Because you have that knowledge that some agencies, they give lower number of hours if you're already in Europe, right? How about if they just offer you this amount of money? Okay, so this bit is really, really big. Understanding that these people are business people, is the point is so big that it follows even when you now start the contract, right? Assuming you are in, okay, there's something that I am missing, and that thing is also when you have signed the contract. One thing I have experienced, I thought I was the only one, that is very universal, if not all the agencies, is that once you sign the contract, it's only the things that pertain them. That's why I keep saying that you have to know that they are business people. Sometimes it's only the things that pertain them. Like when it is time, assuming you have already filed your I-40, as Vizi has mentioned. So when it is almost time for that, for you to get to the US, they will be bombarding you with email. Oh, submit this, submit this, submit this. We need this. We need it by. They like to give you time. We need you to submit it by tomorrow, by 25th of October, and they will bombard you with email. But something that is very, very distressing to international nurses, and me too, is like when you need to ask questions, like there's something you like when you sign the contract, so many of them will tell you that you can't change where you work, right? All of a sudden you develop interest in ICU, or you develop interest in theater, and you want to change. in my own time, I'll be sending email or sending email. They now said, oh, if you work in a new place, you have to stay there for about 2 years. There is retrogression anyway, and you may end up staying 2 years in your home country. So it's up to you to decide if they tell you to go ahead and do what you want to do that is good for your career, right? But what these people do is that they'll keep quiet. They won't say anything to you. I remember I went ahead and did an interview for theater nursing, and they said yes, you can come. They took me, I passed the interview. Then I got back to the agency. Okay, I got this thing already, can I transfer it to theater? They did not respond to that email. Never, ever, ever, ever. They did not. I was confused. I was in such a state. I couldn't even, I did all everybody that I was working with in the same unit in the UK that didn't want to go to the United States. They all changed units. Some of them changed hospital. Some of them went ahead to go to, other units that they really like, moved on with their career. Because I was going to the United States, I really also wanted to move to another, but none of them, they were not responding at all, which was really, really, and I thought this experience is isolated, but this is the experience of so many others as well. So they never ever responded to that email. The next email I saw about them was, oh, submit this, submit this. If I had worked in that area, I would have still met up with that 2 years or whatever. And I still, it was really, really, so there are other things that you want to ask them, especially ask that when you sign, and maybe at that time you want to ask about how long, negotiate about hours. Sometimes if they don't have a response for you, they will just keep quiet on you. So that's why you have to really, really, before you sign the contract, ask all those questions and make sure that you're comfortable with it, and then you sign. And okay. Okay, so that is one thing that you have to also keep in mind. So this that that there are businesses as well. So recently I also talked about the H-1B visa that a lot of people are beginning to choose because of the retrogression and all of that. Some of the agencies that I try to contact to know, they are also making it clear, especially for the countries that their retrogression is up to 10 years and 5 years and all of that. They don't even want to recruit from those countries at all, because like it's not good for their business. Okay, so now so many, the H-1B as well, what I'm noticing is that they have the H-1B cap exempt and the H-1B, the one that is not cap exempt. So cap exempt means that every year that's to my understanding, that every year the United States, they will give certain number of work visa to a certain number of people from specific country. So if it is cap exempt, that means once they reach that number, they can give you, whether you're a nurse or whatever. But then the agencies that offer the one that is not, if they don't have cap exempt, then it will affect you, right? So the chance of you getting it to be like 20%. It's not even up to 20%, if I'm right. But then if you are with an agency that is cap exempt, that means you can so that means it's possible that you get that visa. So what I'm noticing is that so many of these agencies, maybe they want to do this, but so many of the hospitals that they are working with are not able to offer them that cap exempt, and then it's delaying some of those ones. When I saw one of the agencies, I got excited. They had a program for a very short time, you can relocate, but at some point I feel like so many of their clients, they were refusing to offer that H-1B, or maybe it's expensive for them. Because one thing we keep saying is that both the employment, the recruitment and immigration, they are two different things. So sometimes the what happens is that you may get a job, and because of immigration you stay forever, like wherever you are, until you get here. But at the end of the day, please be conscious of whatever contract you're signing. Another experience to cap this up is that some people, when they eventually move with recruitment agencies, right, they will start having bad experiences and the recruitment agencies will keep, like, it's either they don't respond or something like that. So some people, when they eventually get to the United, they have so many bad experiences with these agencies that is very, 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 very depressing for some people. So if you have been following this trend, so what I can say to you is that at any point in time with recruitment agencies, with these hospitals, please, please speak up. Please, please speak up, and don't be scared to make decisions that work for you. always keep in mind that they are business people, and you also have to look out for yourself. Sometimes you'll be thinking that anything you can go to them, because they will say, oh, they will even put somebody to be following you up to ask you questions. At some point when we got here, it almost felt like these people that are following you, they are just checking you. They are even monitoring. It felt so uncomfortable. It's as if they are monitoring you to know whether you are following, instead of looking out for you, listening to your concerns and everything. It almost felt like they are monitoring. So one thing I think we'll take out from this, and I think I'll continue this discussion in subsequent live videos, okay? So that I will share some of the experiences people are having, so that we are all informed. Don't think that because you are international, then anybody should take advantage of you. Please, no. If we have made that mistake, don't make that mistake. So some people felt, it almost felt that way. You know, some people were getting depressed. Some people even decided, oh, what if we leave? Some people will be saying, this is how much I am told to pay. And then people are scared. They are not comfortable where they are, and they don't, they don't want to go against the contract and all of that. So this, I think, is one of the things that we have to understand, is that they are business people, and they will do things that work for them more before they think about what will work for you. And even if they are doing things that work for you, it is called customer care, right? That's to my own understanding. Guys, if you're joining, please like this video so that many more people will see it, okay? They are doing something we call customer care, okay? And some of them are really good. And another thing is, okay, with all these experiences that people are having, should you still use recruitment agencies, or should you go to direct hire? So from my experience in the UK, UK looks more like direct hire, and still I had that experience, right? So direct hire will help you to thrive in the United States, in the sense that if you use direct hire, even if you have bad experiences in the beginning, the fact that you are in that hospital, benefiting from that hospital, is easier for you to go to HR or anybody and ask them questions like, I'm one of you, right? Then if you use recruitment agency, is always, first of all, the people that you're working with are seeing you as some visitors. And again, the hospital as well sometimes they try to make you like you're here to help us, which is not very wrong. It's just that for you that is coming with that impression that you'll be loved and everything, when you don't feel that inclusion, when they are making certain decisions, like for example, experiences that people have, like all of a sudden they'll tell them, oh, people from this agency, you can no longer pick additional shifts. And people have made financial decisions like buying big cars, buying homes and everything. All of a sudden you say, because these agencies, you cannot pick extra shift, or if you must pick extra shift, you cannot work in this unit, you have to work somewhere else. Those are the experiences people have, like. And when people want to pick extra shifts, I'm live, I'm coming, okay, give me a minute, okay. So and then when you are picking extra shift, many nurses, they want to work in the unit where they have been working, because maybe it's easier, you already know the patients and you know everybody. But all of a sudden they are telling you, because you are from this agency, you are no longer making some decision, because already, if they are paying so much to those agencies to have you there, they want to maximize, using, if I should use that word, like making sure that these people, they are really helping out the hospital, okay? So whether you should choose them, let it be if you can sponsor yourself for NCLEX and all of that, it will help you to be on a more balanced place to choose whether to go with an agency or not. So that is what I feel. And I will not forget that there are some people who don't have the resources to start the process, and they definitely need agencies. So businesses are here to make profit, but businesses are here to also contribute to the community. So I'm not of the opinion that they are bad, because they are still have some positives. And one of the positives is that they will help you. They're already in the game, okay? They know how the immigration thing work. They know how NCLEX work. There are questions that they are able to answer. And some of them that are sponsoring the NCLEX programs and everything, there are things that they can help you that another person who doesn't have that will not be able to give, okay? And following them, you're almost sure that you will not get scammed along the way, because if you're doing it yourself, you decide to use a lawyer and all of that, you may make mistakes. But if you're in a place where you know the road, you know exactly what to do, then Obviously, if you're able to sponsor yourself to NCLEX, then at that point you're able to say, okay, should I use a direct hire? Should I apply directly to the hospital? Because I also learned people even get jobs directly in the hospital that are able to sponsor them. One of my colleagues traveled and they did all their own, and attorney used them. One thing is that if you don't really know what to do, these agencies, because they've done that, they are able to help. So I'm not going to join the people that are saying run, because when I was in the UK, I was ready to do it myself, already wrote NCLEX and all of that. But when I asked this my colleague that moved to the US for advice or tips, he could not help me. He could not even provide. I kept saying, which lawyer did you use? I was so confused at that time. But he refused. I don't know whether he refused, but he could not share with me how he and his wife did it. They are both nurses. So, and I kept researching and all of that. And those agencies that I saw, they didn't look very, very legit to me. So at the end of the day, I had to resort back to an agency. And because I believe that at least I won't make mistake with them, they already know what to do. So those are the advantages of using them. But the disadvantages is like some of all these other things that I've already shared with you. So obviously, if you are able to do this process on your own, doing it on your own definitely will help. All those other things that agencies offer, like transition program and all of that, those things you can still transition, you can still get comfortable. It might be stressful. In fact, it was really I moved from the UK to the US, but it was still that very, very stressful to the point I was like, why did I even leave UK to this place? But once you settle, definitely, just like you are a nurse and you move from med-surg to work in ICU, you know how you will feel in that first few weeks, but eventually it will be like easy peasy to you. So it's the same with moving abroad. If you move to any new country, you are going to be out of place. You're going to be stressed. How they talk, how they do their medication, especially US, that is very, very fast paced. Like, you have to do this like army, bim, bim, bim. They are handing over everybody standing, using this and that, all of that. So it looks different, especially if you move from UK that is a little bit more quiet, and then you come here and everybody is standing during they are giving all these big reports, and then you go one to one, you go to the hospital, you go to the patient bedside, patient relative is there, you are talking about the patient, and discussing and sounding confident and all of that. So all those things, it comes like a shock, and all the stress that come with moving with children, or all of that. But after a while, you will settle. So whether you use agency, in my opinion, whether you use an agency or you use a direct hire, you will definitely settle. And if you use a direct hire and that hospital sees you as one of them, you are in a better position to be able to ask questions, not be scared of your future, not always worried about, oh, what will this happen? What will happen if this, especially if you listen to the example I gave about when they are making decisions about agency nurses, they are making decisions about their own nurses. So if you can you imagine if you are their own nurses, not to talk of the other benefits that you are getting when you are in a direct hire hospital. Okay, so on this, I am actually balanced on this. So if you really, really need their help for so many of the reasons that I've talked about, like you don't know what to do, you don't know the steps and all of that, that's even the more reason why I compile these steps. Okay, that's the reason why I compile these steps in that book, so you can use it and then follow it back to back. And I also make myself available, like if you bought that book and there are things you don't understand, the CGFNS, ERES, Joseph Cindy, all these other places that you can use, Pantran, that you can use, and you are confused, you can send me an email, you can message me on IG, I'll answer those questions. So if you're able to start the process and get up to a point, you are more likely to make the best decision. During our own time, we didn't know exactly which ones are the best, but I think today we have all this information in our hands. For some reason, when people travel, especially in the UK, I remember it was hard for me to get somebody to tell me, oh, this is what you need to do. It's the same in the UK, in the US. Even though I was already in the UK, new people that already moved to the US, still they were not able to tell me. First, one of them finally told me, stop all those direct hire, just go for that, just go for agency. And now, me and my colleagues were thinking, why on earth were he saying all those things? Even though he knows that this is maybe the better option. But the thing is that it's most likely that he didn't know as well. But he kept saying, oh, use the agency. No explanation, nothing. But you have all this information in your hands. It's up to you to make the best decision so you will not cry. So the thing is that I'm going to be talking about this more on this channel. Like, I mean, don't just fall for anything. Another thing is that so many people talk about this journey and they are not yet in the US. Some people even talk about this and they never used agency. So they don't even know firsthand. They might hear stories like the way I'm telling it now. And then they'll come and tell people use this, use they never even they are not even in the US yet. So the thing I need to talk about before I come back again to talk about this later is I know who you are getting the information from. Even if you're not getting it from me, get it from someone who is in the US, used an agency, is a nurse. Okay. Don't get it from someone who did not even move with agency or just a nurse in the United States talking about these things without having first-hand information. One thing I have noticed is that even the agency themselves that have all this experience, because they are not in our shoes, there are things they are not able to tell us. When you have challenges and you go to them and you ask this question, you will know that there are things that they still don't have answers to. There are things that they don't have that lived experience of, so that they are able to guide you appropriately. And we saw that, like I experienced that firsthand. So whoever you're asking this question, make sure the person is a nurse, moved with an agency, or if it is direct hire, the person you move with that direct hire, living in the United States, able to tell you the truth. Okay, so guys, if you see all this negative whatever on the internet about recruitment agencies and all of that, just try to keep your mindset balanced, because some of those people sharing this thing, they are some of them have so much bad experience that all they can say is please run, run, run. But there are things also that you have to think about when you want to make these decisions. There are so many more things for me to talk about, but I don't want this live to be too lengthy. And I want you to like let me know in the comment section, especially if you're watching the recording, whether you want me to talk more about these experiences in my other live videos. Then I can come back later to talk about these things. Thank you so much, guys, for joining and, you know, listening to all of this. If you have questions, let me know in the comment section. I will come back again to talk about these things. There are so many more things to talk about in this actually. There are so many more things to talk about, and like so many the people that are getting lawsuits and stuff, all those things, I'm going to be talking about it next time. So I've not been having time to make videos and edit it, so maybe this live will be helpful for us in the coming weeks, and I'll make videos and upload as soon as I can. So thank you so much, guys, for being part of this community, and for so many of you that have watched till this point, thank you, and I wish you all the very best. Okay.